Hey, everybody, and welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. This is Katie Weaver, and I'm here with my partner in crime and sister and co-reporter here, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Well, I'm good. I seems like a lot of people have had a hard day. But, I do a daily reading that comes out via email, and called the Daily Dish, and it's an energy read and a read of the day. And the Daily Dish today was a little bit daunting about having kind of falling into a dark place or, into a bad attitude. And I wondered what that was going to mean for people. And
Mhm.
wow, did I see it at my house?
Oh.
Both of my daughters just having hard days and
Mm.
struggling. And yeah, my poor kid in Boise on the phone crying for hours, and just having a hard time. I mean, she's at the end of the semester and she's coming
Mm.
home in 5 days for several days over the Thanksgiving break. I mean, she's got a lot to finish up and look forward to. But she just kind of hit that wall today. And
Sure.
yeah. And then the senior also, an
Oh
enormous amount of
dear.
homework and feeling pressure and stress, and very determined to keep her grade point average where it's at or higher. And it's tough. I think life is full of pressure right now.
It
But
is.
anyway, I've heard from multiple clients today too, similar things, just feeling kind of frantic, panicked,
Mm.
struggling. So anyway, the Daily Dish, yikes, held true today. I
Yeah,
kind
that
of wish it
sounds
didn't,
like
but it did.
it. Yeah, I bet sometimes you're like, oh, I wish this wasn't going to be true.
I know. Sometimes I'm a little surprised at what comes out of it, and I'm like, oh gosh. Yesterday it was about not talking yourself out of yourself, not being having harmful self-talk and talking yourself out of your goals and stuff. And I had several people
Hmm.
reach out and said, "Oh my God, that was me. That's been me this whole week." So
Uh-huh.
it's kind of where we're at, apparently. So if you guys are experiencing a little of either of those things, know you're not alone, and that there is hope. Good things are coming. We're breaking through some of the fog and the mire that we've been in, but I know it's been
Hmm.
tough. It's been a
It's
tough year.
true. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
been a decade in a year.
It really
It
has.
kind of feels like that. Like we've been through
Yeah.
a decade's worth of craziness in a
Yeah.
year.
And I guess shameless plug while I'm at it, if you want to subscribe to the Daily Dish,
Yeah.
go to katie-weaver.com, and there'll be a pop-up right there. If you sign up for that, I will send you the Daily Dish every day, and then I'll send you the magazine that I publish that Kristi contributes to every Tuesday morning, and that's Luminous Magazine. So if you want,
Yeah.
if you don't, that's cool too. But if so,
Right.
katie-weaver.com.
There
Yeah,
you go. Awesome.
yeah. So how are you? You've had a big day too.
Yeah, I have. Well, I'm continuing to navigate my experiences with the coronavirus. Yesterday, I was tested and confirmed that I do have it. That wasn't a big surprise because my son tested positive on Thursday, and I definitely have symptoms. Had a very kind of whirlwind 24 hours because I am super high risk. I have a primary immune deficiency. So getting the coronavirus isn't just a minor blip for me. So, thanks to help from my primary care doctor, I was able to qualify for the new drug, and it's a monoclonal antibody. I'm going to try to say it for you. I think that whoever named this drug was like high on bath salts at the time, maybe. It's Bamlan. It's Bamlanivimab. Bamlanivimab.
I think they just came from the dentist.
Something, yeah, like they
They've
had
got
a
a numb
mouthful
mouth.
of marshmallows or something,
Yeah,
yeah.
somebody
Is
calls
it
him. What are we going to name this? Oh, bambalab.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that's
it's
what he said.
exactly like, "Wha what the hell?" But it
Is that
is one of the
phonetic?
new yeah, yeah, so weird. But I did get the infusion this morning, which felt really good because it's, it's an antibody infusion. It's actually man-made antibodies that are meant to resemble the antibodies that, people make when they have the coronavirus, and when
Mhm.
you have a primary immune deficiency like me, I don't make much in the way of my own antibodies.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna have a very small response to fighting the coronavirus on my own. And so getting
Mhm.
something like this to help me is really, really important.
Yeah.
So I got that infusion this morning,
Yeah.
and I'm just, I mean, I feel pretty gross. I feel like I have the flu,
Mhm.
and I'm feeling it kind of starting in my lungs, and I hadn't had that yet, but that's kind of been coming this afternoon. But I'm optimistic. I feel like I'm going to be okay.
Oh, yeah.
And getting this infusion so quickly, this is an experimental drug that they got permission from the FDA to release it on an emergency basis.
Mhm.
And because it's experimental, no insurance company will pay for it. So the federal
Mhm.
government here in the US purchased a huge amount of it, and hospitals can apply to get a certain number of doses, and then they can continue
Uh-huh.
to apply to get more doses. And so for me, I'm grateful that I guess if I had to get the coronavirus, I got it now after
Mhm.
our local hospitals actually have this drug. And, it was
Definitely.
less than 24 hours from the time I started the process to get it to when I was actually in the chair getting the infusion. So it was
Yeah.
really a great experience. It just made me feel really grateful that I would have
Yeah.
access to that, because
Yeah, and
you never
supportive.
know if you're
Yeah.
going to have access to something like that.
Yeah. Well, as Blab to the rescue.
Yes, there you go. It's the weirdest. This is a weird drug name, really weird. But yeah, just so you know, if you're a high risk person, your doctor can send you to a hospital for this, and it
Yeah.
doesn't cost you a dime, which is also amazing.
Completely amazing. Because oh, I can't imagine the sticker on that.
Oh,
But
I cannot,
but who
I mean,
cares? Yep.
I'm on monthly plasma, and the plasma itself is $5,000 a month. So I
Right.
can't imagine what something this new and
Mhm.
experimental, what it must cost.
Yeah. Well,
It's
this
probably
was a
horrifying.
portion of the cocktail that Trump received,
It
correct?
is, yeah, part
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, that Regeneron that he got has this drug plus another drug in it. Although
Yeah.
he got like a super high dose, much higher dose than what I got.
Oh,
Something like 8 times more.
holy yikes.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, good. Well, like I said, I think Tuesday's your day where you'll really feel a big shift and
good.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
kick
So,
this
yeah,
shit out. Yep.
absolutely. Let's do.
Yeah,
Speaking of
very
that, we're
good.
actually here to talk about true crime. So, what are we
Yes,
doing
we
on
are.
this show?
Okay. Well, I am going to present a case to Kristi and she's going to cold read it. And so this case happened on Thanksgiving. So,
Mhm.
timely that we're talking about
Mhm.
it now. This case is known as the Blount family bombing
Ooh.
or Blount. Blount. We had some people that lived in our community whose last name was spelled like this, and they pronounced it Blunt. So if
Mm.
it's wrong, it might be wrong. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go with Blunt.
Okay.
So this happened in 1985. This was in Lake Worth, Texas.
Okay.
And there was a family that they had Thanksgiving dinner. And then later in the day, about 9 p.m., mom laid down for a nap, and dad and a couple of the kids and a cousin all went to the gas station for beer and ice cream, and as you do. And
Sure.
when they came back, there was a briefcase on the front steps. They lived in a little trailer park there
Mm.
in Texas. And so there were other homes fairly close by, but uh, they found this just unknown briefcase sitting on the steps that they, of course, teenagers were totally interested in and grabbed and ran in the house with, right?
Oh.
And opened it up, and it was a bomb that detonated in their living room.
Oh my god.
Yep. And three of them were killed instantly. The dad, Joe, and Angela, one of the children, and Michael, one of the cousins, were all killed instantly.
Mm.
And Robert was one of the children, and he was unharmed. Well, he not unharmed. He wasn't killed. The blast actually melted his slippers to his feet.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So not unharmed at all, but he wasn't killed.
No, that's awful.
Susan, who was laying down in the bedroom, was completely unharmed. Now, she reported later that while they were gone to the store, somebody had knocked on the door, and she
Mhm.
opened the door and didn't see anybody and closed the door and went back in. And so
Maybe
investigators
just
think probably the briefcase was there, but
She was looking up for a
Didn't
person,
see
not
it.
down for a briefcase.
Yeah. Well, and it was 9
Oh,
p.m. at night. It was dark outside,
sure.
and maybe they didn't have a porch light. She might not have just really seen anything.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Police spent months combing through the damage from this trailer, trying to find any evidence that would give them any idea who in the world would do this. And they didn't come up with anything conclusive. So nothing came of it for quite a while. And then in 1997, the police were given more power and more funding to investigate something that they would have considered domestic terrorism because it was a bomb
Mhm.
in the wake of the Oklahoma City bombing. And so they
Oh, okay.
reopened this case and were continuing to take a look at it. It was one of many that had been reopened at the time because of the funding, and the power that had been given to the police to do so.
Right.
Well, during the reinvestigation, a man named Charles Jack Ferris came forward and told them that his cellmate, while he had been in prison, told him that he had committed these crimes. His name was Michael Toney. So the police, of course, were very interested in Michael Toney. He was still in custody at the time for something else. Well, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Michael Toney. He was
Mhm.
born in 1965 in California, and his dad had abandoned their family, and mom just brought home a series of bad men from the bar where she worked, and that were extremely abusive. She allowed the men she brought home to be her kids.
Mm.
And this boy said that when he was 9 or 10, one of his mother's boyfriends uh, strapped him to a chair and burned his hands badly. He
Ah,
had all kinds of injuries from child abuse.
mhm.
And when he was 15, he finally actually left school and ran away from home and went to Texas, where he, made a bit of a life for himself, but unfortunately had a lot of run-ins with law enforcement and, mostly for robbery, theft related things.
Mhm.
But he got married while he was there, and this is wild, but the court documents only refer to his wife as Ms. Toney.
Wow. Never use her name.
Never use her name, which is kind of weird to me. But
Typical for in the past, but
yeah.
really
However,
bizarre.
I think in other documents I have her name though, actually, now while I think about it. But anyway, she went by Ms. Toney. Let's see. Sorry, I just want to make sure I have that.
Sure.
Kim was her name. Kim
Kim.
Toney.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, he got married and then had some dust ups with the law at some point and had gone to jail. Well, when when those bombings happened, he was not incarcerated, so they had that. So the police had absolutely no evidence that linked Michael to these crimes at all. But, they were trying to solve this, and it was a horrible thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
So they go and talk to Kim Toney. They had been married at the time and they are now divorced. She's his ex-wife. And at first
Mhm.
she tells the police she knows nothing about any bombing, has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then they tell her, they revisit her a few times, talk to her about what a serious crime this is and how, what a terrible thing this has been. And pretty soon she completely changes her tune and tells them, actually, no. The night that happened, she says that actually they had been in near that trailer court driving around in his pickup,
Mhm.
and that they were with a friend as well, and that they were driving around, and also that she may have seen that briefcase in their house earlier that week and he put some stuff in it, but she wasn't sure what it was. So she testifies this in court and that maybe it was a bomb, and that they drove into that trailer park near it and parked, and he got out and was gone for a little while and then came back without the briefcase. This is what she
Okay.
testifies in court.
Mhm.
And then they get, of course, the cellmate, the former cellmate on the stand. And he also says that Michael had told him that somebody paid him $5,000 to deliver this as a part of a drug-related hit,
Mhm.
and that Michael told him that he put it on the wrong doorstep by mistake.
Yeah.
So then they put Michael on the stand, and he says that he has no idea what they're talking about, that he wasn't involved in any such thing. No one paid him anything. He's never seen a bomb, has no idea what they're talking about. And that the pickup that she says they were driving around in, that he hadn't even purchased that until like 6 weeks after this happened. And so it couldn't possibly have been him. But despite all of that, he was convicted and sentenced to death.
Mm.
So, and mostly that sentence to death was mostly about the cellmate's testimony, claiming that it was a premeditated murder and that it was related to organized crime. So he's convicted. So case
Mhm.
closed, right? Well, it wasn't very long after his conviction that they started to have new evidence come up that really negated that. And the first part of that was the cellmate that testified. They discovered he was a pedophile and was facing charges of indecency with a child and had his charges dropped in exchange for testifying against Michael.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the best friend, who had also testified and said he was with Michael and the ex-wife on the night that they did that, uh, they realized that he had changed his version of events 4 times, and that his story that he told the police never did match the ex-wife's until the day of the trial.
Mm.
Like
They
they had
just
finally
wanted
gotten
somebody.
together on their story. Yeah.
They just wanted somebody so bad that they.
Yeah. So they re-question him and he fails a polygraph. And then in 2001, signs an affidavit recanting his testimony altogether and says that he doesn't know that those events ever did happen or if they happened on November 28th, 1985 at all. So after all of this stuff comes to light, then they also prove that he did not buy that pickup until December of 1985. So the whole story about the pickup they're riding around in, truly, he was telling the truth about that. He hadn't even bought it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's on death row, right?
Yeah.
So it takes until 2009 for him to
Wow.
be cleared of this stuff and released.
Wow.
On September 2nd, 2009, after he spent 10 years on death row on just the dubious statements of an ex-wife that hated him and a best friend
Yeah.
who had
She
also,
just didn't want him coming home. She
yeah,
just didn't want him coming home. She decided she was going to say whatever she could to keep him in jail and away from her. She'd
mm-hmm,
had enough of his shit, and it was
yep.
convenient to just not want him to come home.
So she just perjured the hell out of herself on the stand and colluded with the best friend. And then, of course,
Mhm.
our friendly neighborhood pedophile who was going to say anything to keep himself from going to jail.
Right.
So it is so gross. So
Right.
he finally gets out on September 2nd, 2009. And then on October 3rd, he was driving a pickup truck that rolled and he was thrown from the truck and killed instantly.
Oh my God.
So 10 years on death row. I mean, what a sad and unhappy life this guy had
So
from a
sad and
physically abusive
tremendously unlucky.
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. To running away, going to Texas, trying to build a life for himself. All of this, death row for 10 years, finally out, and 1 month later, the guy dies. It's just so sad.
That is so sad. Wow. He just never had a chance in hell, as our dad would have said.
Right. No, he didn't. So then the case becomes unsolved again. So one piece of evidence that finally came out is that a neighbor in the trailer court actually told authorities that he had been involved in illegal firearms and he had been afraid that that bomb had actually been for him. But
Yeah.
they didn't even
It has
investigate
rung true
that.
to me the whole time that it was never supposed to be at that house.
Yeah.
That was not the right place. it was never supposed to be there, that it
Yeah.
wasn't for those people, that in no way there was no intent to hurt these particular people with this bomb.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just I mean, you talk about, Michael Tony being so unlucky, so was this family. Like,
Yeah.
they never did anything to deserve this. This wasn't,
No.
not that anybody does, but, like, it wasn't as though somebody was being targeted in the household. They were not.
No.
This
No.
was a huge botch up.
So do you think it was for the neighbor or do you think it was for someone else?
I do think it was for the neighbor. I did feel that it was for a house nearby and that it was dropped in the wrong place, and it was dropped at night and people didn't realize, and it was too late by the time they did realize. But the whole time I just keep feeling revenge. This is revenge. This is to get back at something. And it does resonate with me very much that it was the neighbor, and it was definitely, illegal activity, organized crime stuff really did resonate with me. Um, just not this family. They didn't do anything. This wasn't about them at all. It was just a dumb accident, which is so
Yeah.
awful to think that people lost family members and were so injured and all this horrible stuff they went through for some stupid accident. But that's what it was.
Hmm.
There's just no intent to harm them at all behind it in any way.
Any thoughts on, do you think there'll ever be justice in this case?
No, there won't. There won't. This was a delivery made by someone who was not. It's so funny because the story that Kim Tony tells about that, he was paid to drop it off and all that stuff. It's really funny because that's really what happened. It's just not who did it. It wasn't her husband, but it was someone else who was paid to drop it off. They didn't make it. They don't know anything about bombs. They were just the delivery person, and they were very bad at being a delivery person, and they dropped it at the wrong house.
Hmm.
And no, they're never going to be caught. And this isn't like a serial bomber. This isn't, somebody that's out there still, bombing people. It isn't. This was just a one-time thing. I do feel like that the person that did this will never do a bomb again because of how badly it went. And it just isn't, they never, got revenge this way again.
Hmm. Okay.
But I do feel like if they were to, have looked deeper into that neighbor at the time, that they might have figured something out. I don't feel like at this point that that's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Just too much time has passed.
Hmm. Yeah. For sure. I wonder why they didn't in the first place.
I don't know. I mean, why didn't they do a lot of things in this situation?
Yeah.
Very strange. But again, we're talking about before everybody had a surveillance camera on their house and,
Yeah.
GPS and, all kinds of stuff that now would have helped out, very much with figuring out who dropped that off.
Hmm.
Just isn't going to happen. It's just too late now.
Yeah. Yeah. Really unfortunate for the families involved. It's just,
For everybody.
yeah.
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 Including Michael Tony. I mean, I
Mhm.
think maybe he was kind of a pain in the ass and his ex-wife was tired of him, but I don't think that he deserved this.
She deserves perjury charges, though.
She does.
And so does the best friend. I mean, they both deserve charges for this.
Mhm. They do.
Well, and the former inmate. I mean, that's kind of, I searched and searched to see if any charges were brought against either any of them, and it doesn't appear to me that they have. Or
Mhm.
if they have, it's not widely known because I couldn't find anything. But that was my thought. I felt like Kim Tony deserves perjury charges.
She does, because she set in motion all of this stuff that then, resulted in, first of all, her ex-husband sitting on death row for 10 years, and also them stopping their investigation into this bombing and never actually finding who really did it. My
Yeah.
sense of the best friend is that the best friend has quite a history with law enforcement themselves,
Mhm.
and that they simply wanted to appear to be cooperating, and that they were just trying to answer the questions the way they thought the police wanted to hear them.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were gonna let him die.
Yeah, they were.
They would have let him be executed and not tell the
Mhm.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Kim most definitely would have done that. That she was okay with that.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
I mean, okay, fine, you don't wanna be married to somebody anymore, and you've had enough of their shit, but
Well, they were
you
already
get
divorced. Yeah,
yeah,
but
you get them strung up on capital murder charges? I mean, that's pretty cold.
yeah, that's pretty bad right there. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's, essentially what I figured that you would say in this case, but I feel like this one deserves the light of day. It's
Mhm.
unthinkable, that a family just opens a random package on their steps and gets blown to bits. It's
Yeah,
just hard to even fathom.
yeah. It's interesting, though, because these kinds of things have happened enough now that if you came across a random briefcase on your steps, you would probably not take it in your house and probably not open it.
Maybe.
You would probably call the cops.
Yeah. Well, I probably would, but would one of my kids?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, would they know to not trust something like that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Case like this is a good opportunity to teach that. That if some
Yeah.
it's not an Amazon package, some unexpected thing shows up on your steps, don't touch it. Don't open it. Don't come anywhere near it. Call the police.
Yeah. Well, the brother who lived had said that they thought there might be something fun inside.
Sure.
They were
Well, it was
curious.
Thanksgiving. And so
Yeah.
maybe somebody in their neighborhood was dropping off something to them, right? I could see that on a
Sure.
holiday, particularly being a little confusing and yeah, that's just so sad. Wow.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, well, but it is a good lesson to all of us. Yeah. Be leery of
Mhm.
packages that you don't know anything about for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. We'll
Mhm.
you know, it's just one of more of those cases that'll go in our archives that if, anything ever comes from it, we'll be sure and come back to you guys and let you know that there's
Yeah.
been new details. I doubt there will be in this case, but if there were, we'd let you know. Yeah. Well, of course, this is our Monday morning episode, but we'll have Tuesday and Wednesday. And then, of course, we will be live on Wednesday evening with our case updates, and then we'll be back Thursday night for the psychic hour. And we
Yeah.
decided, even though it's Thanksgiving this week, we'd go ahead and be live because, well, we're all quarantined, so
Where are we gonna go?
better way to spend Thanksgiving than with you guys. So we'll be here
Yeah.
at 8 p.m. Mountain on Wednesday night and Thursday night. So.
Yes, we will.
Well, thank you all so much. You've been listening to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.